to have an excuse to sit back and wait for this magic bullet that, frankly, I don't believe is coming. And even if it did, it doesn't change the fact that we live in this country as slaves. Serfdom. That we don't own ourselves, that we don't own our property, we don't own our children. That we are a commodity. We're a product. You know, the more I think about this whole, the realities, if you will, of the world that we live in, the system that we live in, that becomes more and more, that's revealed more and more every day to many of us, myself included. And all of the distractions and all of the outright lies and falsehoods that we're led to believe as truth. As this stuff is uncovered, and as we realize so many things that are fake and that are false, and that are meant to deceive us and to keep us from our true purpose, our true intent, our true selves, in a system in which, and in a true system in which God intended for us to live in, to be. I think about all of the ways that these deceptions are being carried out, and in all of the avenues that it exists. And let me preface what I'm about to say here by saying, you know, as many of you know, if you've been watching this channel, you know that I haven't been, you know, I'm as far as politically speaking, you know, I don't just vehemently and 100% support one candidate over another, although, you know, I certainly hoped Trump would defeat Biden, okay? But really, in the grand scheme of things, it just doesn't matter. And this is one thing that I'm becoming more aware of, is that it really doesn't matter. You know, I've said it a lot, and I've meant it, but it's really starting to take root as something that is deeper and more important and more true than maybe I even personally gave credence to. That being said, I can't help but believe that what we're seeing with all of this legal mumbo jumbo from the Trump team, you know, and the fraudulent election and the proofs that they're trying to bring into these court systems and into these state hearings and all this kind of stuff. You know what it's doing to the Trump base? It's placating them. You know, you go back a couple hundred years, and if something like this took place, whether manufactured or not, you know, whether by design on both sides of the political table or not, if it had been a couple hundred years ago as obvious as it appears to be now, with all the videos and testimonies and pictures and all the proofs of fraud in this election, if there had been this much of it and this much belief from, you know, the base of, say, the victim of said fraud, Americans would have long ago, weeks ago, taken to the streets with rifles and pitchforks and knives and fists, and would have literally fixed it themselves. Now, we already know that we're a society, we as Americans, much of Western civilization, but we're talking about here in America, we already know that we're a bunch of soft-bellied do-nothingers, by and large. Not all of you, not all of us, But most who even claim to be something different, who claim to be, by God, we're going to go for it, this will not stand and all that. But we're largely soft-bellied couch potatoes who, as long as our comfort's not disrupted, we might bitch and moan, but we're not going to get up and do anything. Just business as usual. But for those who might want to act, and even for those who maybe previously were soft-bellied couch potatoes, but this has been the final straw, the dividing line, if you will, to urge them into action, we're being placated. They are being placated by this whole legal process. It has allowed the Trump base to have an excuse to sit back and wait for this magic bullet that, frankly, I don't believe is coming. And even if it did, it doesn't change the fact that we live in this country as slaves. Serfdom. That we don't own ourselves, that we don't own our property, we don't own our children. That we are a commodity. We're a product. We are the product of an entity. We're the commodity that is traded, that is bought and sold, that is used to make rich those that seek to control and rule. Those few, those elites. So when the dust settles and January 20 comes along and whoever is in there and whoever isn't, it doesn't matter. But meanwhile, if there was a chance for action, we've let it just lie on the table while waiting for the magic bullet and all the indictments and all the promises of cleaning out the swamp and all that to be realized. So, chew on that one.